So we'll continue with the chapter Indigo as we had discussed yesterday. Let's just revise a few things before we start. And it is about the struggle of the peasants to be free from the system of sharecropping. It was a big problem for the peasants, right? And now the problem was even more aggravated because what had happened, it is there that there is a synthetic indigo now available in the market. Germany has introduced a synthetic indigo. As a result, the farmers are they're going to be burdened with the commercial crop. And so to get released from that system, what the landlords, the Britishers, they're asking them to pay compensation. Some of the farmers had agreed, some of them did not. And those who had paid the compensation, later on they came to know that the synthetic indigo is there in the market. And that is why they're being released from this system. So they're protesting, they want their money back. The landlords are not giving their money back. They're making the peasants sign the agreement. They're bringing in lawyers and they're bringing in their men there to make them forcefully sign. Now, what is the condition here? The people are afraid of going to the lawyers because they think that the lawyers are also hand in glove with the Britishers and they're forcing them to sign. They're charging high fee, which is not possible for the peasants. Now, one of the peasants, Rajkumar Shukla, he has requested Mahatma Gandhi to help him in this situation, to help the peasants of Champaran. And yes, to show how determined he was, to show how concerned he was about the situation, he's been following him around most of the places. When Mahatma Gandhi said that you meet me at Kolkata on such and such date, he was there. Now they have gone to which place? Yes, they have gone to Muzaffarpur, right, before going to Champaran. And here also, yes, Rajkumar Shukla is known because they're constantly meeting the lawyers, the leaders, the people there to work for the cause or to stand up along with them for this cause. So Mahatma Gandhi has accompanied Rajkumar Shukla to Rajendra Prasad's house. He was not there and they spent the night over there, right? And yes, the biggest fear that Mahatma Gandhi has come to realize among the peasants is that, yes, the lawyers are also not supporting them. They're charging them a large fee, okay? Yes, and we have discussed what is this sharecropping system, right? Now let's come to this page 49, we're reading. At this point, Gandhi arrived in Champaran. There was a deadlock between the Britishers and the peasants, right? So they did not want to give them their money back. They were making the peasants sign the agreement and the peasants were not willing to do so. So now Mahatma Gandhi has arrived on the scene and he is going to sort out this situation. Now let's see what happens. He began by trying to get the facts. First, he visited the secretary of the British Landlords Association. The secretary told him that they could give no information to an outsider. Gandhi answered that he was no outsider. Right here. So when I had discussed with you, what does freedom mean? Freedom means that you are respectable, you are a recognized citizen in your own country. Now look at the situation over here. Gandhi went to the Landlords Association. He wanted information about the condition of the peasants over there, about the sharecropping system, and he was not given information, right? And what did the people say? That he was an outsider. Gandhi answered that he was no outsider. Next, Gandhi called on the British official commissioner of the Tirhut division in which the Champaran district lay. The commissioner, Gandhi reports, proceeded to bully me and advised me forthwith to leave Tirhut. So he went to the place where the, district was, into that division, and the commissioner just bullied him and said, you leave this place. Right? They're not giving information to an outsider. They were not cooperating. Right? Gandhi did not leave. Instead, he proceeded to Motihari, the capital of Champaran. Several lawyers accompanied him at the railway station. A vast multitude greeted Gandhi. So many lawyers were there along with Gandhi, and he has decided to go to Motihari, which is the capital of Champaran. A vast multitude greeted Gandhi. A crowd came to meet him. He went to a house and using it as headquarters continued his investigation. A report came in that a peasant had been maltreated in a nearby village. Gandhi decided to go and see. The next morning, he started out on the back of an elephant. So as news of Gandhi's arrival came, people came in large numbers to meet him. The lawyers also supported him. The authorities are quite worried and concerned about what is happening. They're not cooperating. They don't want to share information. In fact, they're telling him to leave the place. But Gandhi did not do that. What did he get the information? There was a report that one of the peasants in the nearby village had been maltreated by the police. He had not proceeded far when the police superintendent's messenger overtook him and ordered him to return to town in his carriage. Gandhi complied. So he had not gone far when a messenger came and the messenger told him that please go back. Gandhi agreed. The messenger drove Gandhi home, where he served him with an official notice to quit Champaran immediately. Gandhi signed a receipt for the notice and wrote on it that he would disobey the order. Now imagine in your own country, you are not allowed to seek information. You are not allowed to seek justice, right? You're not getting information so that justice could be done. So this, like a very, this unpleasant situation between the peasants and the landlords could be resolved. Instead, what is happening? Gandhi is being threatened again and again that you please leave this place, please go back, right? Gandhi went back home. He took the official order, but what did he say? He said he will not obey that order. He will disobey it. The order which had told him to leave Champaran. In consequence, Gandhi received a summons to appear in court the next day. So because of his action, what happened? That he got this order that he has to reach court. All night, Gandhi remained awake. He telegraphed Rajendra Prasad to come from Bihar with influential friends. He sent instructions to the ashram. He wired a full report to the viceroy. So he is there, taking quick action. He's telegraphed Rajendra Prasad, an influential lawyer, to come with his influential friends. He sent instructions to the ashram, right? The Sabarmati ashram he's talking about. And he wired a full report to the viceroy that this is why I have been asked to appear in court because I disobeyed an order. Morning found the town of Motihari black with peasants. Black with peasants, crowded with the peasants. All the peasants from far and near coming to support. The information spread very quickly that he has to appear in court. And this person is come over here to stand up to represent the cause of the peasants. They did not know Gandhi's record in South Africa. They had merely heard that a Mahatma who wanted to help them was in trouble with the authorities. Their spontaneous demonstration in thousands around the courthouse was the beginning of their liberation from fear of the British. See, one step at a time, the peasants gathering that courage to come out and support Gandhi. They did not know what his previous work was, but they just knew that there is this man who has come to support them. And they came out in large numbers to support him. And yes, the authorities were also scared and thousands of peasants over there. So they had this great fear in their minds that what would happen. And this act of the peasants coming out and supporting Gandhi, what was it? It was their first step. It was their liberation from fear of the British. They were freed. Now they felt that yes, there is this person who's supporting, who's standing up for them. They also got that courage. They got that courage to come out and support him. Okay, so see here, right? When you have a leader, when you have someone helping you out, people gain courage. The officials felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation. A huge crowd was there. They're afraid what would happen, how the crowd would behave, and they needed Gandhi's help. They needed Gandhi's cooperation. He helped them regulate the crowd so that no violence took place, no mishappening took place. He was polite and friendly. He was giving them concrete proof that their might, hitherto dreaded and unquestioned, could be challenged by Indians. So one simple act, Gandhi disobeyed the court order, right? The order that was leave this place. He said, no, I will not leave it. And as a result of this, a huge crowd coming out in support of him. There is fear in the minds of the Britishers, of the authorities, what is going to happen. And Gandhi is helping them control the crowd. One lesson learned, the peasants no longer afraid of the authorities. Second is that the Indians could challenge the authority of the Britishers, right? So till now it was unquestioned. No one questioned what you're doing and how you're behaving and how you're treating the Indian people. Now the authority, which till now had been dreaded, people were afraid of, now it was challenged. The government was baffled. So they're very confused what to do. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. Apparently, the authorities wished to consult their superiors. Now, why do you think this trial was postponed? Why were the authorities confused? What should we do? What action should we take against Gandhi? He is there with the full support of the peasants. So any action, any kind of punishment which they had to give to Gandhi, they had to take so many things into consideration. So they were delaying that sentence, or they were delaying their decision. Gandhi protested against the delay. He's delaying it. Why are you delaying, or why are you delaying the judgment? He's protesting against it. He read a statement pleading guilty. He said, yes, I'm guilty. I disobeyed the court orders. He was involved, he told the court, in a conflict of duties. Why did he do that? Because his duties were there. He was in a conflict, in a very confusing situation. What? On the one hand, not to set a bad example as a lawbreaker. You break the law, you don't get punishment. That's a bad example. The authorities have full right to punish him, right? On the other hand, to render the humanitarian and national service for which he had come. So he has come here to support the peasants. And if he went back, how would he, of course, how would you face those people again? That you came here to support us and you got scared and you went back. So he was in a dilemma right now. He says, yes, the court has to punish him because he broke the law. He can't go back because he's come here to support the peasants, right? He disregarded the order to leave. So out of the two things which he was supposed to do, either go back or not support the peasants, he decided of staying here. That means he disobeyed the law, which is wrong. He disregarded the order to leave, not for want of respect for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of our being, the voice of conscience. He asked the penalty due. He says, my conscience, my inner voice did not allow me to go back. I have come here to support the peasants. I will continue supporting them. And he says, okay, fine. What is the penalty? What fine do I have to pay? I'm ready to pay that. But I will not go back. Yes, I have disobeyed the law. The law has every right to punish me. But my duty as a citizen, right? My duty as a lawful citizen, or as, supporting the cause of my countrymen, I can't go back. I can't leave. So he says, what is the penalty? The magistrate announced that he would pronounce sentence after 2-hour recess and asked Gandhi to furnish bail for those 120 minutes. So they're going to take a break of 2 hours. They're going to discuss what is the next course of action. This is Gandhi is going to be penalized for that time. Gandhi refused. The judge released him without bail. See, he is giving an example for the countrymen that no one can order you around in your own country. Against the authorities, you cannot force us to do things you want us to. You can't order us around in our own country, right? So he's there sending across two very, very strong messages. When the court reconvened, the judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days. Even the court is there and is scared. If they take any action against Gandhi, the peasants might protest. There might be violence, some kind of, mishap could happen. So meanwhile, he allowed Gandhi to remain at liberty. So they're also delaying. But first they're saying, yeah, we're going to, delay the judgment for 2 hours. It was delayed. He was asked to pay bail for that. He refused. And then they said they could not deliver the judgment. And in the meantime, Gandhi was free. Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Mazharul Haq, and several other prominent lawyers had arrived from Bihar. So Rajendra Prasad had been asked to come with his influential friends, and he's agreed. He's come to join Gandhi. They conferred with Gandhi. What would they do if he was sentenced to prison? Gandhi asked. Why? The senior lawyer replied. They had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. Now just look at this very, very carefully, right? So what is it that Gandhi is trying to make these people realize? He's asked them one simple question. He's saying, what if they send me to prison? What are you going to do? The lawyer said, we've come here to advise you. If you go to prison, whom are we going to advise? We'll go back. Do you think Gandhi was happy with this reply? Do you think this was the answer he was looking for? No. What about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. Now, this is what he wanted to know. What are you going to do about the injustice to the sharecroppers? You have come here to advise me. And why am I here? I am here standing against the injustice to the sharecroppers. What are you going to do for the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. The lawyers withdrew to consult. Rajendra Prasad has recorded the upshot of their consultations. They thought among themselves that Gandhi was totally a stranger, and yet he was prepared to go to prison for the sake of the peasants. If they, on the other hand, being not only residents of the adjoining districts, but also those who claim to have served these peasants, should go home, it would be shameful desertion. So Gandhi's made a point very, very clear. And the lawyers have also understood that he's an outsider, he's a stranger, completely new to this place. We are here, living here, we're going to be with the peasants, right? And if we don't help them, then who will? If a stranger can come, he's ready to go for jail, right? He's ready to go to jail, sorry. And what are we doing? So they're saying that if we also leave now, it would be shameful desertion. They accordingly went back to Gandhi and told him they were ready to follow him into jail. If you go to jail, we'll continue with the cause. And if we have to go to jail, if we are sent to prison, we are ready. The battle of Champaran is won. Very, very important line. Please underline this. Underline this in your books. The battle of Champaran is won, he exclaimed. How was it won? Had the peasants got victory? Was the sharecropping system abolished? Then what is it that made Gandhi remark that the battle of Champaran is won? He meant to say that, see, the lawyers who till now were not there supporting, they were the ones who were creating a fear in the minds of the peasants. So they are ready to go to prison. And when they realize their duty also is there towards their people, when that awakening has come among the people. So he says the battle is won. When people know they have to stand up for themselves, they have to fight for the right cause, then the battle is won. Is this clear? The battle of Champaran is won, he exclaimed. Then he took a piece of paper and divided the group into pairs and put down the order in which each pair was to quote arrest. So he's very happy now that the lawyers have realized. And so he made this, divided them into pairs, and he made the order in which if he went to jail and the lawyers continued with the protest. And if they had to go to jail, in which order, right? So here, very simple act. What do you think this whole episode, what lesson did it teach to the Britishers? That people can stand up against them. They're not afraid of their authority. What lesson did it teach to the people, to the peasants, to the lawyers? That if you stand up, your voice will be heard, right? That no one can order you around. And if you are, you get gathering the courage to stand up against the authority, you have overcome your fear, you will definitely are on the right path, and you will definitely go on the path to see justice. Clear? Right? So was there any kind of violence in the method which was here? Was there any violence at all? No. Absolute non-violence. Have you heard about Satyagraha? What is Satyagraha? Anyone? Yes, what is Satyagraha? So the truth here, yeah, the cause of truth, right? So here, ultimately, when you are there fighting for truth, when you are on the right path, nothing can stop you. And nothing can take that injustice, or nothing can, take the cause for which you are working for away. Clear? Yes. Several days later, Gandhi received a written communication from the magistrate informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. The case against Gandhi, he disobeyed the court order. Civil disobedience had triumphed the first time in modern India, not obeying the authorities, and that too in a very non-violent manner. So he disobeyed the authorities, and of course he had the support of the people, and the court had to delay their judgment, and ultimately, yes, the case against him was dropped. And this was the first incident of civil disobedience. So two things here that have happened, or what we have discussed in today's part that we have read. One is the Battle of Champaran is won. So when the people are united, when the people realize they have to fight for a cause, the authorities automatically develop that, fear. And they're afraid of the numbers, they're afraid of the courage, they're afraid of that unity. Clear? Yes. And next is civil disobedience had triumphed the first time in modern India. So what was that incident of civil disobedience? When Mahatma Gandhi refused to obey the court order, right? Yes. Any doubts, any questions, students? Do you have any questions regarding this?